Good evening. You're watching WEAR News at 6. I'm Kelsey Coffey, filling in for Yona Gavino. A Crestview woman is behind bars tonight after deputies say she refused to leave her house after being served 2 warrants for her arrest in 2 counties. Heather Sutton was served an arrest warrant for running away during a traffic stop in Okaloosa County. She also had a warrant in Santa Rosa County for possession of a controlled substance. Deputies say Sutton slammed a door on them when they arrived at her home on Sugartown Road. They say she tried to climb out of a window and refused to leave her house for several hours. Sutton is being held in the Okaloosa County Jail without bond. Daytona Beach police have arrested a woman who shot and killed her terminally ill husband inside a hospital and then barricaded herself in his room this afternoon. Daytona Beach police say she surrendered around 2 p.m. They've identified her as 76-year-old Ellen Gillen. Police evacuated part of the hospital and negotiated with her.
Apparently, because he was terminally ill, they had a conversation about it, and they actually planned this approximately 3 weeks ago, that if he continued to take a turn for the worse, that he wanted her to end this.
No one else was injured. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Tonight, Set Free Refuge hosted their Healing Gala in honor of survivors of human trafficking and sexual assault. It was hosted by our very own Yona Gavino. The Refuge is a nonprofit transitional home for high-risk young women who are survivors of sexual exploitation and sex trafficking. They provide housing, counseling service, case management, and life skill classes to survivors. During the gala, the Pirates of the Panhandle donated $400,000 to the organization. The executive director says that money will go towards building a second home for survivors.
First Warning Weather, sponsored by Pensacola State College.
Joseph, we saw some showers earlier today, but we're really concerned about overnight storms. Tomorrow night, there will be a cold weather shelter open in Santa Rosa County. It's at Ferris Hill Baptist Church in Milton. So if anyone would like to stay at the church, you've got to come between 6:30 and 8:30 p.m. No pets are going to be allowed to stay with guests unless they're service animals. No one will be admitted after 8:30 p.m. unless they're brought in by law enforcement. Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated is celebrating a major milestone today, 103 years in existence. Happy Founders Day, ladies. The sorority was established in 1920 at Howard University by 5 founding members. Their legacies remembered during a luncheon held at Gateway Church of Christ in Pensacola this afternoon. There are now 800 Zeta Phi Beta chapters worldwide with more than 300,000 members. Leaders say the celebration was a chance to recognize the work the organization has done in serving communities.
Today we will fellowship with our community leaders and our partners just to celebrate the work that we do in our community, national and international. We work with our Council on Aging, we work with our youth, we're socially engaged with social action projects, we work with our homeless population. We just serve throughout the greater Pensacola for the last 73 years.
That's awesome. Guest speakers included Dr. Lou Sharon Wiley and Pensacola Mayor D.C. Reeves. Coming up, the first Native American woman in space is making history again. What she's up to and how it's helping NASA improve their technology. Heavy wind and rain there. And just to put all this into perspective, an extreme wind warning was issued in that area, which means surface winds were at 115 miles per hour or more. Registration is starting for a free swim and dive program for elementary school students. That kind of sounds like fun, right? Now, though Northwest Florida wasn't directly impacted by Hurricane Ian, people statewide could be feeling its effect through higher insurance bills. A well-known Pensacola Beach restaurant is celebrating a grand reopening this weekend. Redfish Bluefish is fully operational after being closed for a 6-month renovation and expansion project. We had a little shower before the Grand Fiesta Parade. Are we going to see any more of that? As they say, you can never touch a classic, but this sequel is impressing moviegoers across the country. So deputies have been out here since about 4 o'clock this morning. Now that it's light out, you should be able to get a better look at that truck right there that crashed. And each of the kits have one of these. This is a visual communication board. You can see here how it has a pain measurement scale. We first arrived to the scene about 30 minutes after everything happened. We came back just after 9 o'clock, and since then we've seen car after car to happen in one of the homes that's behind that privacy fence. We're not exactly sure which home it was. We got this call around 4:45 this morning. You can see that the northbound lane here at Highway 29 is closed. And as I'm here in the airport, I'm just thinking about what it would be like to take a vacation. You know, don't you see it? Me on the beach, relaxing.
The sound of danger when you least expect it.
This is a very senseless, careless, just ridiculous act.
Escambia County Sheriff Chip Simmons says a 22-year-old man is dead and another man is injured after a shooting at the Bellevue Youth Football and Baseball Complex on Longleaf Drive.
There were two males wearing masks that engaged with the individual right now that is deceased. Shots were exchanged. I would say that there were dozens of shots being fired.
Deputies are now searching for the two suspects in a white Nissan Altima. Sheriff Simmons says the shooting happened between the baseball and football field. He says teens and even children were in the area when the shooting started. Children like Sarah Davison's 14-year-old son.
He heard a bunch of gunshots, they all did, and then everyone just started running, and kids were getting tossed over fences, and people were trying to get out.
The sheriff says no children were injured.
It's ridiculous that we can't watch a football game without worrying about safety of our children or ourselves, where you have to look over your shoulder because someone may have a gun.
Davison says it's up to parents and the community to work together to stop violent acts like this one.
Here's the thing, Pensacola. The cops can't fix this. This is not something that the schools can fix or the cops can fix. The people of Pensacola have to fix this.
My constituents in the Panhandle have had enough.
As hundreds of supporters listened to U.S. Congressman Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan in a campaign rally Saturday, dozens of protesters chanted outside.
Women against Matt Gaetz!
The group Women Against Matt Gaetz led the charge.
Matt Gaetz really has done his time and needs to go.
The group says they're speaking up after Gaetz' recent comments about women who protested the overturn of Roe v. Wade. Gaetz talked about the protesters during the rally.
You know how the fake news will report it? They'll say, oh, while a few people gathered to support Matt Gaetz and Jim Jordan, there were 50 people outside.
We might disagree on policy, and I'm going to fight like crazy in the Congress to do what I think is best for the country, but we can smile. It's America.
One of Gaetz' opponents, Mark Lombardo, was also outside. He says he wasn't there to protest.
We're making sure that everybody knows that there is an alternative for the 1st Congressional District.
Lombardo isn't the only opposing candidate in the race. We also checked in with candidate Greg Merck after the rally.
But I believe that I can beat Matt Gaetz on the issues because we are diametrically opposed on things like climate change, transgenders in the military, the radical animal rights groups, legal recreational marijuana, and I can go on and on about the issues.